Alright, what's going on YouTube? This is clearly Pokemon Champions. I wanted to get some thoughts together and bring them to you. Not that my opinion matters very much in the larger scheme of things, but as someone who plays competitive Pokemon, I've been playing competitive Pokemon for the last 10 years, right? But I've been to 0 regionals and I've been to 1 local. And in that local, I did bubble into Top Cut. It was like 8-9 people, and I was bubbled in. So I was the 4th seed going into Top Cut, where I lost. So I say that to say that I'm not a professional by any stretch, but I'm also not super heavily invested in the VGC community at large. I am in a couple VGC Discords, and I keep up with the community very much so. But again, I'm not actively participating. So all of that being said, that's where I approach competitive Pokemon from. And when I say that I've been playing for 10 years, I play in a league with friends. It's called the PLC, and we just concluded our 10th season. And that is generally, well, not generally, but is 6v6 doubles. And we have our own meta, we have our own, it's basically a draft league. It's kind of the short of it. It is a draft league, 6v6 doubles, which Champions doesn't have at the moment, right now. So, I've been playing for a long time. I'm not heavily invested in the VGC community, but I am aware of what's going on in VGC at all times. And I'm approaching this video through that lens, right? That being said, Champions has some bugs. Those bugs are not super pertinent to my Pokemon experience, outside of the lack of 6v6 doubles. I'm not someone who's going to tournaments routinely, and I'm not someone who's competing for thousands of dollars. So, I am approaching Champions from a little bit less of a critical eye than someone who is going to tournaments. Someone like a Wolfglick, right? Someone who does Pokemon full-time has said that they're going all in on Champions and goes to tournaments regularly to win thousands of dollars. If I was Wolf, or someone like that, a Paul Chua, an Aaron Zhang, Joshua Lorsey, you know the names, right? If I was one of those players who did this was my job. Think about it like this. If your job came to you right now and said, here's a new tool, this is the tool that you're going to use to complete your job. And you're like, all right, cool. Great. What's it do? Everything. It does everything. You'd be like, all right, bet. This is awesome, right? This is great. But then you start using it and you realize it doesn't do the most basic things. You're missing an Assault Vest, right? You're missing a Life Orb, you're missing a Choice Band and a Choice Specs. How? That's even like that's less of what I'm concerned with. But looking at it from that professional lens is like, how is this going to be the competitive game going forward and I don't have access to everything? I don't have access to all my tools. And again, the items, I think that even the items, if they want to slowly introduce items to shake up the meta, I think that that's fine. But like when you are playing the game and someone uses Haze and it restores HP, that doesn't make any sense. That's not what the move does. It's completely broken. When you have a Kingambit on the field and it loses its Psychic immunity because it got double targeted by an Expanding Force or something like that, I don't even know what the interaction was, but when that happens and your Kingambit goes down or takes damage to a Psychic type move, what are we doing? You know what I mean? How? This is the battling experience. How did battling get messed up? Battling worked fine 2 days ago in Scarlet and Violet. Battling worked perfectly in Scarlet and Violet. On my team, so in my box right now, I chose Charizard as my first, I almost said first partner Pokemon, which is I'm sure what they would want. But starter, first partner, whatever. I chose Charizard because I'm a Charizard fan. I'm like, I don't care what any of these other Pokemon do. I like Charizard. I'm going to get Charizard. So I chose Charizard, but I can't effectively Mega Evolve this Charizard into Charizard. Why? Because I don't know what the speed interactions are going to be with the opposing Tyranitar. You know what I mean? And that's probably a bad example because Charizard's going to Mega Evolve first, and then T-Tar evolves and I lose my Sun and it gets the sand back up. So that's probably a bad example, but you get the idea, right? I can't reliably Mega Evolve my Charizard and set up my Sun reliably because I'm not sure what the interaction is going to look like. That's a problem for me. And this team is trash, by the way, so don't look at that and judge me. I'm just using the Pokemon that I unlock. It's introducing some interesting team building mechanics. Not that I'm the best team builder at all, but there's team building constraints using the Pokemon that I have here. I do have Pokemon at home I could bring over, but I think this has been fun. So yeah, don't judge me for the lack of Pokemon in the team over there. Don't judge me for that, but you get the idea. Now, that being said, so I'm not approaching this game from like a VGC lens or VGC perspective, but my friends and I play 6v6, right? So if I go to battle, and everyone already knows this, but I'm just going to demonstrate. If I go to private battles, make a room, I don't have the option for 6v6. I actually go to double, still don't have the option for 6v6. So it's essentially MA. The regulation rule set, MA, it's the VGC rules. Which doesn't really work unless there's something I'm missing, but in the last little over a day since the game's been out, everyone's saying that it lacks 6v6, and Pokemon's not come out to say anything to the contrary, so I just don't think that it's there. I just don't think that it's in the game. So the lack of options when it comes to battling, again, if you want to play Pokemon Champions, you're either playing on the ranked ladder, which is fine, or you're playing on the non-ranked ladder, which again is fine, but then that's it. Those are the only options you have, whereas, you know, in Scarlet and Violet, and basically any game before that, you could do whatever you wanted. So this is the battling game, and it doesn't have key battling mechanics figured out. And not even that they're not figured out, they are literally perfect. In any other Pokemon game, well, not any other Pokemon game, a lot of Pokemon games have bugs, but the way that speed interacts, that's a non-negotiable. That has to work. The way that type matchups work, that's non-negotiable. That has to work. The way that moves work. And the haze is, I'm only relying on these key things just because those are the things that are super, not even super relevant, but just they're really quick examples that everybody's seen at this point, and it's a shame that they don't work. It's insane that they don't work. And then again, from my personal use perspective, the fact that I can't do what I need to do with my friends is kind of unfortunate. But all that to say that the game is a little buggy at the moment, but I'm still having a lot of fun with the game. So I started out very negative, I guess, but the game is incredible. This game is absolutely fun. This game is absolutely amazing. When I first started the game, the graphics did not look good, so I was not excited there, but then you get into the battles, the Pokemons, the stadiums, everything looks amazing, and I'm having a lot of fun. So the problem I've had with competitive Pokemon in the past, again, that being said, I've been playing for a decade now, but the problem I've had is that when you play competitive Pokemon, there are so many things that you have to do that are not competitive Pokemon, right? If I wanted to build a team, old world, get a single mon ready for game, or ready for competitive action, I could catch it, I guess, but generally, you start by making a sandwich. Well, I would start. I'm just going to say I would start, because if you went and caught a Pokemon that was over level 50 and you could bottle cap it and stuff like that, great, perfect. And I've done that before as well, but generally, if you want a Pokemon for competitive use, you start by making a sandwich. I want to play competitive Pokemon. I don't want to make a sandwich. Then you have to sit in the daycare with Ditto in your party, so you got to take everything out of your party, put Ditto and the Pokemon that you want to breed in your party, and you got to go make the sandwich. You got to sit, wait for an egg, wait for a couple eggs, just because you want to see what IVs are going to look like. And before that, you got to make sure that you have your Destiny Knot, you have your what's it called, whatever thing passes down the nature. I can't remember what it is right now. But you want to make sure that you have that. And in order to do this reliably, you probably have to have a 6 IV Ditto, which I bought from eBay. Sue me, you know what I mean? Because how do you find a 6v6 Ditto? Or a 6 IV Ditto? I have no idea. So I start with this illegitimate Pokemon anyways, because it's necessary, right? Or you could just get a regular Ditto, but that's ridiculous. So You start by making a sandwich. Then you wait in the daycare for a few minutes, get a couple eggs. Then what do you have to do? Do you battle with them then? No, you don't. You have to run up and down. Hatch the eggs. You have to take the Ditto out of your party, put Volcarona in your party, or a Magmar, or a Magby, or whatever. Put it back in your party, you have to run up and down. For however long. To hatch however many eggs. Then, you hatch the egg. Then, you have to use in-game items, which cost money, which you had to get. I had to buy, I didn't have to buy, I had it, but luckily I did. Other people, I'm sure, had to go buy the controller with turbo, so you could spam the tournament that was in the big city after the game. I used a Kyurem with Ice Beam and something to get money, right, to go buy the items. But then you have to get the Pokemon that you just hatched. If the IVs are perfect, you don't have to do this step, but chances are you may have to bottle cap an IV or two. So you have to level it up to level 50 using the in-game items that you got from the in-game currency, which you had to use a turbo controller to spam the tournament to get. And then you have to take it to the city where the IVs get corrected. So you get it to level 50, you go IV it. Level 50 is in this game. Old World, level 100, which is ridiculous. This game, level 50. Cool. You go, get it to level 50, you give it a bottle cap or a golden bottle cap or whatever you gotta do. Then you have to use the in-game items in order, or, slow down, you could use the in-game items in order to train, to EV train, which was cool. All this to play competitive Pokemon, by the way. So I'm saying all these things, and it's not like it's nothing. You know what I mean? Sometimes when people get on YouTube, they start complaining about stuff, and it's like, this is really a non-issue. But this is actually, like, in order to make a competitive Pokemon, this is the stuff you had to do. So you have to use the in-game items that you had to grind the in-game currency to get to EV train. Or, slow down, you don't do that, and you go battle hundreds of Pokemon. You have to go find Oddish in order to EV train your specific stat. You kill 100 Oddish. Great. Now your EV is trained up. Good to go. Let's just say you're making a Politoed, right? So you make a Politoed. You're all EV trained. You want to run a Belly Drum set. Not a Belly Drum. Let's say you're making an Azumarill, right? So you have your Azumarill. You do the HP EVs. You're good. You're ready. You go into a battle, you Belly Drum. You have your Azumarill, you Belly Drum. And this is you only made one Pokemon, so you're not battling at this point. But let's just say, for the sake of conversation, you go into a battle, you Belly Drum, and your Citrus Berry doesn't proc. It doesn't take you below half HP. Now you have to correct its HP EVs. How do you do that? You use a berry that you had to find in-game. And you use the berry, it takes it down, I think, 10, so now you're at 242 HP EVs. So now you have to use this other thing, a feather, in order to get it back to 250 or 251 or 248 or whatever the case may be. You have to do all of these things in order to correct that EV, whereas in here, you go to train, right? And I did have to do this. So you go to train, you go to your Azumarill, and you just, whoops, HP. You just drop its stat, which is unbelievable. It's incredible. Or you bump the stat up. Whatever. Oh, I guess I can't because I don't have the, whatever, you get the idea. But yes, it's insane. So all that to make a Pokemon in the old world, and now you don't have to do any of that. So I used to be, my big thing was like, in order to play the game, in order to play competitive Pokemon, you had to play the game. You had to play Pokemon. You had to make the sandwich, you had to go to the picnics, you had to hatch the eggs, you had to do these things, you had to play Pokemon, all those things. But you didn't necessarily have to. This is it. This is the solution, right? This is competitive Pokemon, where you just go, you tweak a stat, good to go. You're straight, you're done. And now you can go hop online. I always thought about competitive Pokemon from this perspective. If you wanted to play competitive Pokemon, there's so many things that you had to do that. But if I wanted to play competitive Fortnite, what do you have to do? You have to download Fortnite, and you have to play. That's it. That's literally it. You are playing competitive. If you have the game downloaded, you have a keyboard and mouse connected, you have a controller connected, you can go online, and you can play. And that is where we're at with this game. And I'm absolutely excited for that. The game is fun. In order to play competitive Pokemon, you just have to battle. In order to get VP, you just have to battle. You win, you get 300-ish VP. Sometimes more, I've noticed, which is cool. And if you lose, you get 75 VP or 67 VP or 89 VP or whatever the case may be. But you are still progressing towards being able to make change, right? You play, you win, now you can change a move or a nature or IVs. It's amazing. It's incredible. This is absolutely what we wanted from the competitive player standpoint. It's just a shame that the things that should work, that did work, now don't work. That's the biggest holdup, which is a shame. But I think that's all I need to say. I think that's been my experience. I did get the battle pass, so I'm not sure. No, the battle pass is over here, I think. Where's the battle pass at? I have no freaking idea. No, it's rewards. I'm tripping. So I did get the battle pass. So I did go to my rewards, and I did get my I got my Feraligatr, which is pretty fire. I got my Emboar, which is pretty fire, and I'm on pace to have Chikorita soon. I'm gonna get some shoes and some socks and some pants, which is cool. I'm gonna get a Meganium. Sorry, I'm gonna get a Meganium. I'm gonna get the Meganiumite, and again some more Pokemon ZA stuff. And then I'm going to get some more VP. So I do have the Battle Pass. I also got the... What is it called? I got the subscription. I went ahead and got the annual subscription because I was all in on this. I still am all in on this game. I'm so excited. This game is absolutely everything I've wanted from a competitive standpoint. And I freaking love the game. But there's just things that should work that don't. Now, the Pokemon, the lack of Pokemon, I feel like that gets corrected as, we go into new seasons. This Pokemon gets introduced, we get hyped. I think that's a good idea. The items, I do think we should have all the competitive items, but I also understand introducing them at a later date. It also kind of makes you get creative with things that we do have. So I've seen some Quick Claw activations, Charcoal on Torkoal and Charizard is pretty cool. What else? I've seen... you can go watch. I think Aaron Zhang did a pretty good video of what is available and what people are doing and blah 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 whatever. So go watch that if you want a detailed breakdown. But I think that's okay. I think that's manageable. Once they introduce the Choice Band, the community gets hyped. Okay, now we can use Choice Band. What does that look like? Choice Band Garchomp instead of Choice Scarf Garchomp. Perhaps, I don't know. But I think that's kind of cool. I can get behind the lack of items as well, even though I think we probably should have them up front since this is the competitive game, but I can kind of get behind the decision not to include them. The monetization hasn't been crazy, so again, I have the stuff. I've put in $60 now, and I went ahead and I've adjusted my wardrobe a little bit. Haven't really done any throwing styles, battle poses, nothing like that. But I don't really have an issue with the monetization. I realized when I first started the game, I didn't like the idea of going in because I'm so used to Pokemon, especially these last couple generations. If you want to change your wardrobe, you go into the shop with the Pokemon dollars that you've earned by battling and stuff like that, and you buy whatever you want. You buy the shoes, you buy the tops, the bottoms, everything like that. And then in this, when I was buying something for 1500 VP, it felt like I was spending actual money, which I didn't like. But at the same time, when I go buy silver powder, it costs 700 VP. I have plenty to do it. There's probably going to be a day where I don't have plenty to do it, but it feels like this is attached to actual money now, which I don't like. I've realized that I'm not a fan of that. But at the same time, how many things have I bought in Fortnite where it's like, oh, I'll buy this skin. I do want Hank Hill. I do want to play as Hank Hill. So I pay real money in order to get that. So it's not foreign to me. I'm just not a huge fan of it feeling like actual money now, even though it's not necessarily. Again, you get a lot of VP just by battling and stuff like that, so you can unlock everything. But not the biggest fan of that. But that being said, I don't think it's a big issue. So overall, the game is absolutely incredible. I've played more competitive Pokemon in the last day than I have in the last, I could probably honestly say the last year on Scarlet and Violet, but I'll say for sure I've played more in the past day than I have in the last 6 months. I don't even think I've hopped on the online ladder in Scarlet and Violet in the last 6 months. And I'm going to show you this too, just because I've given you my credentials, but I've put my time in with Scarlet and Violet. I'm trying to have a living dex in home. I probably have 600-700 of those Pokemon. But I just want to show you really quickly that I do play this game. I'm not that I have to prove it, but I just want to show you. I know what I'm talking about, right? From a competitive Pokemon standpoint and from a playing the game standpoint, this is the town where I run up and down to hatch eggs. This is ridiculous. There's Spo. He's level 100. That was my starter. This is Battle Ready 1. This is Battle Ready 2, Battle Ready 3, Battle Ready 4, Battle Ready 5, Battle Ready 6, Battle Ready 7, Battle Ready 8. These are Pokemon that they're IVs. may not in here. Their IVs may not be perfect. That's why they're in Battle Ready 8. Actually, yeah, all these Pokemon have either messed up IVs or EVs, something. I can't remember exactly. Like this one, IVs aren't good. So that's what these Battle Ready 8 Pokemon are. So, and I'm going to show you one more thing too, because it's not just that game. I play this game. You know what I mean? I know what it takes to make a competitive Pokemon. I know what it takes to have a competitive team. Again, I'm not at regionals on the regular, but personal, League 1, League 2, Battle Ready 1, Battle Ready 2, Battle Ready 3, Battle Ready 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Same thing with these ones. IVs aren't the best. I need to make a small correction or something, but they're technically Battle Ready. So 2E EV, 2E EV. Like, I play this game, right? I know what I'm talking about. I have played a lot of Pokemon, a lot of competitive Pokemon over the course of the last 10 years, and Champions is amazing. Love this game. There are things that absolutely need to be corrected immediately. If I'm playing a game and my Kingambit goes down to a Psychic, I'm hot. And I think Psychic may be a bad example because I don't think that would happen, but to an Expanding Force, I'm hot. If I'm playing and I'm about to get a KO and this person cheeses Haze and gets full HP, I'm hot. You know what I mean? It's things like that that they shouldn't happen in this game, and they have to be corrected immediately. So I've been talking for like 20 minutes, but I am passionate about this. This game is incredible. I freaking love the game, and I'm excited for it. I'm very optimistic about the game's future. I just think that those things have to get corrected immediately, and I'm probably gonna hop on and play more today. And for the sake of fun, let's just go into, oh, nope, not this. Let's go into Recruit. I just wanna have some fun. I'm gonna recruit a Pokemon. I think I'm a couple hours away. 13 hours, I'm gonna use 13 tickets, and we're gonna recruit a Pokemon real quick, just because this game is really fun, and the recruitment mechanic is really cool too, so I'm having fun with it. Again, I have access to all those different Pokemon, but I'm just building with what I recruit. So Torkoal is fire. Oh, I could run. I have the prankster cat. What's its name? I forgot. Oh, I could go Pelipper too. That could work well with my Garchomp and my Feraligatr. Conkeldurr. A friend suggested I get a Conkeldurr, which could work in Trick Room too, but Torkoal, I could get a Sneasler. I think I have to have a Sneasler. I haven't run into any Floettes, but people are saying that Floette goes crazy, so I think I need to get a Sneasler. I do want Torkoal though, but I think I have to get Sneasler. I was thinking of going Trick Room, because I have not seen anybody running Trick Room to this point. So I was thinking that I could go Meowstic, that's what I was thinking of. I could go Trick Room, and I could just take the EVs out of some speed stats for Feraligatr and a couple other Pokemon. But, this could work with Charizard too. Oh man. Ah, dang it. But I think I have to go Sneasler. This also gives me another fake out user. I'm gonna go Sneasler. I have to. And I'm gonna use this permanent recruitment. Actually, should I be using those? I think I might need to save those. I don't know. But that being said, I just completed 2 challenges. So I used a ticket, recruited a Sneasler, so now I have a Sneasler. Go to my missions, right? Weekly missions, I get 2,000 VP for doing that. That's freaking amazing. Membership missions, I get a, what is that? A teammate ticket. Is that what I just used? So I basically just got that Sneasler for free. So that's what I'm talking about. The game, like, in order to play competitive Pokemon, you just need to log into the game, recruit Pokemon, play the game, and you're chilling, you're good. And I freaking love that. Love this game for that. I love this game for that reason, and I'm super excited, super optimistic about its future, and the game is just amazing. The game looks good outside of like the character models. I feel like they could look better. In ZA, they look amazing. In this game, not so much. But the Pokemon in this game, the battle animations in this game, like when you set a Tailwind in the whole, that's awesome. That's fire. When you use Hyper Beam and it looks like it totally evaporates the Pokemon, insane. When you, I don't even know. This game is just incredible. It's really awesome. It's a really good game. But if I was a player who relied on this game for my job, I would be very upset. I'm upset. I would be very upset if I was one of those players. So, that being said, I think that's all I got. 25 minutes of Pokemon Champions talk and thoughts, and this is all unscripted. This is all just what I'm thinking, and I think I relayed everything pretty effectively. I don't think anyone's going to watch this video for 25 minutes, but if you're here, fire. But yeah, that's all. So, peace.